The next thing we want to talk about is the culture of educating our children. We learn in the Doctrine and Covenants that education, of course, is very important to the Lord. And in section 55, the Lord commanded W.W. Phelps to assist Oliver Cowdery to do the work of printing, selecting, and writing books for schools in this church, that little children also may receive instruction before me as is pleasing unto me. So, got to write books and that are done in a way that is done within the bounds the Lord has set. So there's another principle here that we need to understand that Brigham Young laid out that helps us to really see what's going on. He says, I'm opposed to free education as much as I'm opposed to taking away property from one man and giving it to another. But I encourage free schools by taxation? No. What the government, the Supreme Court has ruled, what the government funds, the government controls. We have to be free of government funding, especially with the training up of our children. Otherwise, eventually, as we get used to and we get dependent upon those strings, we're not independent of the world, we're dependent upon them for that money, and we will do what they say to be able to maintain that. It is immoral to use these free schools by taxation. So now this, the governor, Alfred Cumming, talking about the schools and buttering us up, talking to the legislature saying, man, you guys have some awesome schools here, but you don't have any free government schools yet, right? You got no free or common schools. So some systems should therefore be adopted to enable every child to obtain these inestimable benefits. You got to get these free government schools, even though what your religious leaders are telling you is that this is evil and it's going to lead to control of your children. You guys have got to set this up. But not only did they do it in government, but there are all parts of, the conspiracy was using different entities to be able to get us to reject this principle of education independence. And we have some key admissions from those involved in that. In the Presbyterian Church, in 1881, they had a conference or an assembly where they were reporting of how their funds were being used in Utah. And they were setting up free schools in Utah to be able to, so that, and it says here, quote, our schools unsettle the faith of the children of Mormonism, and the schools develop into churches as a rule. They, the schools, are the entering wedge to split parental opposition through the children. And this has not changed. Even though we don't have, a lot of people sending their kids to schools of other religions in the traditional sense, we're sending our kids to the religion of the state. And these schools today, even of the state, have turned into churches. They developed into churches as a rule. The doctrine of the state is what is being taught in these government schools, also should be known as government churches. Government schools are government churches teaching the doctrine. So even if, you're not sending your child to a different religion's school in this sense, and even if they don't leave the religion of their fathers, which we're seeing happen in just massive scales today, because they're being sent to the religion of the state every single day, they are changing the culture. And so that the church itself, the beliefs of the members, the culture of the members is adopting the culture and the religion of the state. An Anglican bishop had a similar admission here. He says, in Utah, our schools were the backbone of our missionary work. Adults were fanatics, but the plastic minds of the young we could hope to win. They understood that you could still, the children's minds are malleable. And if you can get them for 6 hours, 8 hours a day, then you can mold them in the direction you want them to and have the parents don't even realize it. No matter how much, you try, you're like, okay, you've got all day at school and then they come home and you've got maybe an hour or two while they're doing homework, reiterating what they learned at government church. And you think maybe you're going to make a few corrections and say, oh, that's not true. And they're going to believe it, or it's not going to have an impact on them. Society today and the culture shows that does not work. Because A, you got two things. It's being brought into their minds over and over again. And then B, why they're in their mind, they're like, well, if this is wrong and this is evil and this is not what my values are, then why are you sending me to this institution day after day to be taught things that are against our values? So it must not be that bad. And so it gets the next generation to adopt the religion of the state.